Charles, thank you so much for joining us today and talking to us about your experience at GoDaddy. Could you share a little bit about your role?
Sure, and thanks for having me. I'm the Chief Technology Officer at GoDaddy, which basically means I'm responsible for the technical direction for the company and also the engineering standards and practices that we use across the company. So that includes moving our services to AWS, implementing machine learning, the quality and other guidelines that we set across the company.
Wow, very cool role. And could you tell us a little bit about GoDaddy and kind of the transformation journey that GoDaddy is on?
Yeah, so GoDaddy is really focused on helping small businesses get online. So we're probably best known for selling domain names, but obviously we help them with a lot of other areas of building a website, hosting their email, getting found through search engines and things of that nature. So we're really focused on this, really small business market. Essentially, a lot of these folks don't have a lot of extra time to take on those technical functions. So we really try to focus on making it as easy as possible for them to get online.
Charles, so you and I have had some robust conversations about diversity and inclusion. Could you talk a little bit about what that means at GoDaddy?
So it's a very important aspect for us. Obviously, we think that having a diverse and inclusive environment for employees helps us better address the diverse and unique needs that our customers have. And so we really want to try to represent that. I think we've been a leader in that field in terms of providing very visible information in terms of pay parity and the diversity numbers. We're one of the first companies to come out with a lot of that information. And we are continuing to experiment with different methods to basically help us along that curve.
Your vision for where you're trying to get with GoDaddy, you have, such a great value prop now. What's next?
Well, essentially, I think half of it is just making it even easier for customers to use the products that we already have. We're obviously the market leader in domain names. We're, depending on exactly which number you want to look at, we're one of the largest hosting companies in the world. We're the largest WordPress hoster in the world. And essentially what we want to do is make that customer experience even better.
We talked a little bit about innovation and experimentation on behalf of your customers. Can you talk some more about how you organize your teams, how you inspire that innovation?
Yeah, so there are two different aspects of that. I think part of it is basically the spark of creativity, which I think is a little bit harder, to actually inspire. I think the other part of it is having the formula to actually enable that experimentation. And so we've come up with a formula where we expect the teams to come up with a hypothesis, to have the data that they're going to measure that, a result of that experiment against, to actually build the experiment and then to run it. And basically it's a continuous cycle of taking an idea, building a data-backed experiment against it, and then capturing the data to determine, was it successful, was it not successful? And many times the unsuccessful experiments are just as instructive as the ones that the metric does move in the way you want it to, because ultimately it's a data point that you found that helps you identify what really does and what doesn't resonate with customers. And so I think that's the part that we've really been focused on to date, is building that mechanism in place. And I think I've expressed this to many of our teams. It's almost like riding a bicycle. It is something that is new and unique to many teams initially, to figure out that there is a process around it. And I think once you've ridden the bike around the yard a couple of times, you're ready for the open road, and also can help show other folks how to follow that process.
Yeah, I love that. And that, of course, really resonates with us at Amazon, because we very much believe in learning from failure. So I love that idea. So Charles, as a leader in IT, you of course have to work with your other functional leaders across your business. When you're trying to prioritize work and these experiments that we've talked about, how do you communicate that to the other business leaders?
Well, one of the things that we've come up with is what we call Horizon. So Horizon 1 being the more steady state businesses, which we invest in differently than a Horizon 2, which is kind of an up and coming type of business. And then Horizon 3, which is really the brand new nascent idea. And this is something that we're constantly editing and trying different forms. But effectively, what we want to do is make sure that we have metrics that we determine, yes, this is successful and it's growing in the way that we want, and we're going to keep investing at a specified rate. And for the more established businesses, there's just a different investment rate. And so I think that's kind of an important way to lay out the landscape.
Charles, it seems like there's a lot of parallels between Amazon's approach and what GoDaddy does from a customer obsession and customer focus. Can you talk a little bit more about how you define the customer outcome that you're trying to drive, and how do you then inspire the team to work against that?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I think we have moved over time from defining success as they bought a product to they're actually using a product. And even that is starting to, iterate from they connected a domain to a website to actually they have published content on their site. They are actively getting traffic. And so we're constantly moving the metric by which we define that customer success, as we learn and, basically as we start accomplishing some of the goals that we've set out. Okay, they bought it, they connected it, now they're publishing content. So just moving that bar constantly forward. And this is one of the areas where we are using machine learning to basically figure out the uniqueness of the customer. Some customers basically just want to get email accounts and start sending email. Some of them want to build sites, e-commerce sites, upload content, sell online. Some of that's syndicated, through Amazon. And ultimately, we're trying to get much better at identifying what each unique customer will find a value and take them along that step.
Charles, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing such great insights.
Thank you.